Andrew and Fergie always seem to be in the middle of a financial mess. Well, maybe not just a financial mess. I mean, it seems like they're always in the middle of a mess. And it's usually kind of sordid. You know what I mean? Like a sordid mess. Because I always remember it was back in the 90s or so, I think it was, where Fergie was caught with some rich guy. He was doing something with her toes or something at a pool while she was still married to Andrew. And, that was the biggest scandal because he was away, in the Falkland Wars or whatever. And she was back home bored out of her mind with a billionaire. And I don't know what he was doing with her toes. And there was a pool and, different things like that. It's some weird wacko thing like that. I mean, don't quote me, but something like that, occurred. And then they divorced. I think this was back in the 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong, 80s or 90s, whatever it was. And then after that, it's just they're always in some kind of sordid mess. I mean, she was caught in some kind of sting at one point where she was, procuring deals where she took money from people and gave them access to Andrew, you know, for like very a lot of money. And at the time it was unprecedented. So it was like really shocking. But then, you hear about different things like Prince Charles getting millions from, very sketchy characters. And so you realize that this whole thing, this is a business. This is a family, and this family is a business. And they make deals with the highest bidders. And, you pay to play with these people. The royal family is a pay to play type of family. And they are not above making deals with the sketchiest of characters. So apparently now, then you have Andrew with all of his issues, like, the Virginia Guthrie, what was her last name, woman who he had to pay because she claimed that when she was a minor, X, Y, and Z, etc., etc., etc. I mean, all the details, the sordid details. I mean, you sort it out. But now the latest is that there is a corrupt financier who was recently jailed because he stole money from this heiress and used that money to pay the Duke and Duchess of York and their family 1.4 million pounds. So this guy's a former Goldman Sachs banker named Salman Turk, according to the Daily Mail, and he paid them total 1.4 million, and he was investing heiress Nabahat Isbilen's money, and but he had stolen her money, and apparently the story is that there's some kind of agreement between the Duke and Duchess of York, Sarah and Andrew and this man, so or even the heiress, so that their names will be kept out of court. They don't have to be parties or whatever because they're saying, well, they didn't know the money was stolen. But it's just curious how they always end up in these very sort of sketchy and sordid financial situations, these wacko deals, always involving huge chunks of money. And you're wondering, why do they always end up in these sordid financial messes? It's very bizarre. It's almost like they're desperate for money, like you know. But anyway, I must say that lately they seem like they're on a comeback. They're sort of like whitewashing their image all over again, and you can almost hear Fergie whispering to Andrew that we just have to get back in there, and we just have to do some good deeds and just get back into people's confidences and graces. And the way she tells him, we're not going to sit here and feel sorry for ourselves because of Andrew's you know demotion in the royal family and the scandals involving the minors and stuff like that. You can hear Sarah giving that feminine counsel of how they're going to, you know, create a comeback, you know. Then they have their children as well, who were sort of named in the article. The High Court heard the Duke of York, 63, his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, 64, alongside their daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, received these payments. So they all received the payment. Eugenie and Beatrice are adults. They're not children anymore. And I remember how they were hugging Piers Morgan, of all people, in the middle of, the Harry and Meghan scandals, of what this man was doing to Harry and Meghan on a daily basis. And I saw them hugging Piers Morgan. It was as bad as learning that they were also on a plane with Jeremy, this guy, Jeremy, whatever the hell his name is, I can't even remember at this point, who called for Meghan to be dragged through the streets and for naked and for feces to be pelted on her. Jeremy Clarkson was his name. So I have no respect for Beatrice and Eugenie, and that's not going to change. I will never forget this about them because I never saw them like this in the first place. I thought they were decent human beings, upstanding girls and citizens. Now they are sordid, and it appears that their parents are sordid. It's just sordid. It's just one sordid thing to the next with Andrew and Sarah and him leading the royal family recently for that Constantine funeral was pretty comical in a way. I mean, it just goes to show that, this whole royal family thing is just a sordid mess, right? But like I said, they seem to be on this offensive of, you know, rehabilitating their image, and Fergie's been all about with the royal family quite a lot, so Charles has definitely forgiven her for all of her transgressions, and he's, quietly behind the scenes, they got Frogmore for one of their daughters. They took it from Harry and Meghan. I mean, they're in together. Fergie is back in, and Andrew was never really put out of the royal family. But the thing is, the sordid messes just won't stop.